presentation also from ProQuest by Jessica Porter. The first presentation will be by Greg Judelson, and they are going to combine their presentation. I'm going to now invite Greg to
Great, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Greg Judelson. So I am the ProQuest specialist for Alexander Street History and our retrospective digitization program for theses and dissertations. I do only have 10 minutes here today, and there's a lot to share, so that's all by way of introduction. It's lovely to see so many familiar faces and so many competitors in the audience today. Anyway, we're going to start by talking a little bit about Alexander Street, which is a company that ProQuest acquired halfway through last year. Their primary focus is essentially making silent voices heard, and their focus is on all content, but predominantly video. And it's content that is rare and in copyright, and that was otherwise previously inaccessible before Alexander Street came along and made it available. We, as Alexander Street, partner with over 3,000 partners, and you can see some very familiar names, some of which are here today, from Sage, from Oxford University Press, and I'm sure there are several other names that you recognize as well. So before we kind of go any further, it's just worth taking a minute or two to really speak about the importance of video and why it is or should become part of a library's holdings. So, according to recent surveys, nearly 80% of all students watch video voluntarily to understand a topic that is sometimes a little bit complex to grasp by reading it from a textbook. And mobile or video traffic, rather, accounts for over 50% of all mobile traffic. So it is incredibly important. It's really the way that most people prefer to consume content. And you can see here, YouTube has over 1 billion unique visitors per month. And 80% of that is outside of the USA. So I'll start with Alexander Street's flagship video database, which is called Academic Video Online, or AVON for short. This is a multidisciplinary package of streaming video. It's over 55,000 video titles, 14,000 of which are exclusive to Alexander Street. It supports a number of departments, and in terms of your value, in terms of cost per video, it is the far best value that we offer. It's mere cents or maybe 1 or 2 rand per video. Now, one of the things that is great about the Alexander Street platform is in the background, it works to pick up what bandwidth a user is accessing the content from. So if the bandwidth is maybe of poor quality or not as good as we would like, then the video is not going to load in high def where available. It will adjust the resolution according to the user's bandwidth, which can sometimes be an issue here in South Africa. So again, 14,000 of the titles in Academic Video Online are exclusive. We have partners like the Filmmakers Library, Zetcast Films, and 60 Minutes, and so on, really important, well-known producers. And you can see here, it supports really a wide range of departments, specifically in the social sciences and the humanities, but also in business, in nursing, film studies, black studies, and so on. So with AVON, or Academic Video Online, we have something which is called access to own, right? So what happens is, at the end of your AVON subscription, when you renew, we are going to give you back the cost of your subscription in credits on the Alexander Street platform to purchase videos that you will then own in perpetuity. So, for example, if your subscription is 10,000, when you renew, we give you 10,000 in credits to use to purchase videos that you will then own perpetually. And there's a lot more from Alexander Street as well, but again, we are very limited for time, so please come and see us at the stand a little bit later. So, primary sources and historical collections from ProQuest. This is really where ProQuest shines as a company. We have so much unique and interesting content in a number of areas, from our historical books program, which is collections of books from 1400s all over Europe and England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. We have our government documents, our historical newspapers, periodicals, etc. And I've just tried to cherry pick one or two things here that I think are relevant to the audience. The first is New York Times. The New York Times is known all over the world. It is something that every single library in the world can benefit from having. Again, I'm really jumping through this because I want to get somewhere with all of this. So please bear with me. We also have our periodical archive online, PAO, right, which is a massive collection for perpetual purchase. So no need to, ongoing subscription costs. And it allows a library to rapidly build their holdings while at the same time providing researchers in the social sciences and humanities with an incredible selection of content. And these are journals from the 19th through to the 21st century. For those libraries that may have the JSTOR collection, we have our PAO Foundation collection, which has minimal overlap with JSTOR, as well as we also have some smaller subject-specific collections available. So, forgive me for rushing, but this is the point I wanted to get to, and this was something we only added into this presentation really this morning, because it really fits in with the theme of decolonialization of education and how we can really work to promote South African research and make it available to everyone. So it's our retrospective digitization program for your theses and dissertations. Why digitize? So Chris Borg, who is the library director of MIT, said it better than I ever could. And she said, the troubling reality is that content available in physical form only, in our current environment of online discovery and access, will largely fade from the global knowledge base that the web has become and from the scholarly conversation that it supports. Such a large gap in the scholarly record is so detrimental to the current and future research that we recommend investing in a large-scale digitization program to surface these treasures. So, in a very high-level view, what we do as ProQuest, we take your dissertations and theses and we digitize them, and we do a number of things with the content once it's digitized. We first take a copy and we put it on ProQuest Dissertations and Theses. It's our database of dissertations and theses. We have about 3,500 customers all around the world who subscribe to that. It receives upward of 220 million searches per year. It's a great way to really make the material visible. Then, in addition to that, we also index the material with about 30 different abstract and indexing sites. So for example, like PubMed or SciteInfo. So what that means is if a user in Japan is on PubMed and he's searching for something, and a dissertation from the University of Pretoria happens to be of relevance and that they've done the digitization program with us, that material will then become discoverable on PubMed itself, and they will be able to then access it through the university's institutional repository. I have 1 minute left, so I'm going to try and just explain the value of this program in a little story here. So we started digitizing material in the UK in about 2011, and the University of Aberdeen were one of the first partners that we partnered with. This is one of their works that we digitized, The Scientific Method and Achievement of Aristotle and Bacon. Not the most exciting read for most people in the room. Now, this work was submitted in 1925. It sat in the library for 90 odd years. Do you know how many times it was checked out in 90 years? 3. 3 times in 90 years, once every 30 years. That's pretty poor usage stats. After we digitized it and put this in our own dissertations database, as well as had it indexed, it was downloaded over 30 times in less than 1 year from our own database. What does this mean, and what is the point of this? It's that a librarian at Aberdeen would be easily forgiven if she felt that this particular work had no research value, but that just isn't the case. As was shown, in just a year of being online, it had received 3,000% of the usage it had in the last 90 years. So this is a really interesting program. I am running out of time and getting the look. So please come and talk to us at the ProQuest stand. This is such a fantastic and unique offering. There's no one else that can offer this kind of enhanced visibility and accessibility for a university's research. And we all know how important getting that research out there for the and to raise the university's profile is. Bad. Done. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg. So I'm Jessica Porter. I'm the new account manager for ProQuest in South Africa. So I'm going to talk a little bit about ebooks, which are becoming more and more important in today's kind of education economy, as it were. We've got diminishing budgets. As one of you in this room very eloquently said to me during a meeting, we have to look at every single red cent and turn it over at least 100 times before we can spend it. But how do you know whether you're actually tossing that coin rather than spending it well and making a gamble? Before we look at that, I actually want to have a look at how we in South Africa are doing with our global research outputs. You can see here, it's not unexpected really that the US is going to be at the top, and we feature at number 34. If I use this clever mouse, I can actually point it. But in Africa, we're at the top, which is obviously where we want to stay, but we want to move up in South Africa from position 34 to higher up. But how are we going to do that? And to do that, we need to keep the researchers and the students in this country, in these institutions. But to do that, we have to be able to compete on a global scale. How can we compete on a global scale and give them the content that they would get elsewhere if we don't have any money? We're at the mercy of the exchange rate, and as well, we're at the mercy of our students who are protesting on a regular basis. We have 30 years with eBreed and EBL of combined experience as leading ebook aggregators. And this puts us in a really, really good position to support you with your ebook purchasing. I'm not going to go through all of the slides because I'll be here forever, so talk to me again another day. But with nearly 1 million titles, and that's growing constantly, over 750 publishers, crossing all of the subject areas, we're going to meet everybody's needs in terms of content. Not only that, we actually have 32,800 titles that are available from ProQuest that you cannot get on the Publisher Direct platforms. And many, many purchase options on how you can purchase. And in fact, we have more access models than any other competitor or aggregator. So we know that we're going to be able to service your needs individually. It's not just a one-size-fits-all. So with that in mind, I'm going to hark back to my UK days. The picture you can see at the bottom is of Coventry University, who started out with stacks and stacks of books. And he came to me one day and he said, I need to be able to make more space for my students, that's what they're asking for. So we took hundreds and thousands of ISBNs, and using our service title matching fast, I matched those print books with our ebooks and was able to take those print books off the shelves and create an ebook profile for them. They didn't even spend any money on those books because they did a demand-driven acquisition. And the $100,000 that they did spend resulted in over $1 million worth of usage of books that they didn't buy, but were able to take off the shelves and make space for their students. So we know that space is an issue for a lot of institutions. You're wanting to add more, or you need to make space for students. We know that users want more access. and sometimes a print book is never going to be enough. So what we do is with Title Matching Fast, we take your ISBNs, and because we have a really good relationship with Bowker, we own them, we can take your ISBNs and we can match it to our resources. We even take your e-ISBNs to make sure that we're not duplicating anything you've already purchased. And we turn that into a really nifty report that tells you what you should or shouldn't be buying based on your usage of those print books as well. So we're able to help you strategically choose which books you're going to purchase. That might be books that need to come off the shelves to make space, or it might be your high-use titles that are sitting on the shelves that users can only use for 2 hours, but if you can have it in print, you can take them off those shelves and make them more available. Also, many of you in the room have got Academic Complete, so you have a subscription base of 140,000 titles. We can take that critical mass, look at your usage statistics, and help you to make decisions on which books you should be buying or which subject areas you should be investing in. So with 30 years of experience of helping users with that, we're best placed to help you get that information. With that 30 years of experience, we also know which books are being used where in the world. So this is a sample of a high-use title analysis. And what we do is we actually look at the books that have been purchased by universities, libraries, institutions all around the world in their subject areas. And we can tell you which of those books are being used so that when you spend that money, you know that you're spending that money on something that is actually going to be used, rather than something that might be used. It's not actually as much about how much you spend. We don't have very much here, but it's how you spend it. And with us, what we'd really like to do is help you to make that return on investment pay you back, rather than it being about how much money we can take from you. And thank you.